I'm Dewey.
And I'm Terry.
And we would like for you to join us as we lead you on a marriage adventure that reminds us all how to treat your spouse.
We will discuss ways to rekindle the fun and romance in your marriage while gaining some wisdom on what it takes to build a marriage that lasts.
Welcome to our podcast,
Treat Your Spouse.
So, this is your date.
It was my date. It was kind of pre-planned for us. My daughter, Haley, is a senior this year, and she was nominated for the Winter Court. So we had to go to the Winter Court.
What is a winter court for those who don't know what a winter court is?
So Winter Court is to basketball what homecoming court is to football.
Ah, so you're saying she gets to walk in front of everybody and be escorted by her father.
Yes, she had to walk in front of everyone and be escorted by her father, who acted equally as goofy
How am I?
when he escorted her before.
It was a blast.
So, we would not have missed it anyway. Whether he had to escort her or not, we wouldn't have missed it.
No.
Mainly because we wanted to taunt her because she doesn't really like to get all dressed up and made up. So that was fun. But so we had to go to the basketball game. We had to be there around 7, so we knew we had to stay in Cleveland. I was kind of wanting some potato soup, which was should have been a red flag to what would later happen, but
she wasn't feeling so hot.
I wasn't feeling great.
And yet she took me out anyway. What a trooper.
I know, I'm a trooper. And so we went to Cracker Barrel. They don't have potato soup on COVID Fridays.
You know something? No soup for you! Come back 1 year!
So
they didn't have potato soup.
They only have vegetable soup.
Jerks.
Which only has about 1 potato in it.
1 potato.
So I didn't get the vegetable soup. Instead, I got grilled cheese. A kid's grilled cheese on sourdough and fries. And we got to hang out with our friends when we were walking to be seated. Some of our friends were there, and they were about to leave. But they ended up staying.
Which friends were they?
Greg and Rhonda
Phillips. Yes, we love the
Phillipses.
Phillipses.
We do. And
they're awesome. We missed them. Hadn't seen them in a while.
We hadn't
Yet
seen
we
them in
ran
a
into
while.
them. So Terry said, let's eat with the Phillipses. And I'm like, okay, we can make this work. This will be fun. And it was.
And they were super nice. They had already done it. They were done eating, but they stayed.
They put up with us anyway.
It was nice. It was a fun conversation. So we had a great conversation with the meal. So what did you think about the meal?
The meal was fantastic. I guess I don't even remember what I got.
You got
It's been like 4 days. Hamburger steak. Yeah, it was okay.
And a Coke.
Yeah. And a Coke. It was all right.
Yeah.
Nothing to write home about.
And so then our daughter was like, you need to be here. And so we drove over to the basketball game, and then she was in the parking lot because she didn't want to go in at first. But then she went in, and how was it? What was it like to escort her onto
she was so
not
sweet.
down the aisle,
yeah,
but onto the basketball
onto the
court.
basketball court. Yeah, she kept correcting me. We're not walking down the aisle, thank God. Hopefully that'll be a good 10 or so years before that happens. But I did get to walk her all dressed up down the court, and it was super sweet. You know, she was all nervous. In fact, I was the only father back there, and she was freaking out, saying, "Dad, you're not supposed to be here, Dad." And I'm like, "You're the one that took me back here." But it turns out only the seniors had their fathers with them, so that's why there were hardly no other fathers. So
Right.
I was one of the few.
And again, this is how they acted on the court. Everybody else super serious, waiting. Not these two. I've got photos. I don't have a serious photo to show you, but I have photos.
No, there was a series. I saw one.
I think it was like while y'all were in the middle, it just happened. Y'all both happened to stop for a second to be serious. Anyway, and so we got to do that, and then we stayed a little bit. We have some of our one of our Bible study kids plays.
Go Mason.
He did a great job.
1,000 points. Congrats.
He did a great job. And so we stayed to watch him play, and then we headed home. And I got home. I saw Emmy for a minute. I have not seen her in a while.
Emmy.
And so I talked to Emmy for a minute.
We miss you, Emmy.
And then her and Ethan have not broken up or anything. He's just not at home as much. But, and so I went in and I was like sitting on the couch, and then I was like, I just don't feel very good. And so then I went to lay down, and everything went downhill from there.
Oh, and did it.
Oh, yeah, it did. Let's just say I was sick.
That was our date. That was the end of our date. It was quick. It was fun. It was intentional. And here's the thing. When we originally did these, we were going to get a little bit ahead. And now we are no longer ahead because we took a small sabbatical so to stay on time and release these every Thursday. Pretty much
It is what it is.
it is what it is. So this
Hashtag
happened
Mike Collier.
4 days ago. And we'll be posting this tomorrow night. So
So that happened last week.
and she's just now getting back to normal awesome Terry.
I'm still very weak.
She was still awesome Terry. She just went normal awesome Terry. She was puny
It was
awesome
awful.
Terry. Yeah.
I actually went to school today. I worked today, and we watched Zootopia at school, and we talked about stereotypes.
Stereotypes. Okay.
Anyway, so tell me about you're supposed to rate. Remember, you're supposed to rate
Rate the
it
date.
or something.
Yeah. It was decent. Again, nothing to write home about.
But I think that's important. That you don't always have to make it something to write home about. I think it's all about saying I'm going to intentionally set aside time, regardless of what that time looks like, to invest in you.
I agree. Yeah, it's been life changing for
Yes.
us.
And we've now talked to other couples who have come to us and said, I took my spouse on a date, and it's been good for them as well.
It's a simple concept. We've heard it all our lives. Date your spouse, date your wife. But it really works. Setting aside that time, being intentional about every single week, spending some quality time together. Because we're busy people. I know pretty much the world is busy right now. And you've got to make time for it. It needs to be a non-negotiable thing you put on your calendar each week. This time is my Terry time. So
Okay, so for our weekly wisdom, so this date we both set out to just have a good time and both, I guess, be involved and active in the date, right?
yeah,
And it ended with, I could not function. Like,
she functioned, just not in a way that was pleasant for.
really? Are we gonna continue?
No,
I
I'm just-
puked my guts out. I mean, my God.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I got to the place that I could not, I literally couldn't function. Physically couldn't. If I'm willing to stay home alone and the door not be locked, I don't care if people come in and murder me. I'm very paranoid. And so I just didn't care about anything.
I've got a picture I'm not going to share.
He won't. And
she
I
won't let
knew
me.
there was something I was going to tell you. You are not to put that on this podcast.
I won't share
That's
it,
what
but
was.
I'll just kind of try to, for those watching, give a recreation. She's laying on
We
the
have
ground.
shag carpet in one of our
Head
one of
on
our
the
living rooms,
couch.
and I was laying on the shag carpet.
Yeah. I sent it to the kids.
He did and said, "Don't come home."
I said, don't come home, but it was a telling picture.
So there are going to be my weekly wisdom is there are going to be times in your marriage where one of you just can't function. It can be spiritually can't function, right? It can be emotionally just can't function. It can be physically I can't do it, and you're going to have to step up. And for me sometimes that's hard because I'm like that's not fair, right? But you're just going to have to step up and just do the stuff, do the things. You stepped up. I'm so aggravated at you right now, but I'm going to say it. Yeah, and I am aggravated, but I'm going to say it anyway because I need to. But
Why are you aggravated?
because you've been so mean to me on this.
I've been mean to you?
Yeah, making fun of me and such.
No, I'm just saying it was a telling picture because you looked so sick. It was very sad.
Oh yeah, that's how you looked so sick.
You did.
And so, but you stepped he brought me ginger ale. You got me ginger ale and crackers and a bucket to throw up in and
I went out quite a few
cover.
times.
You went out a couple times and did things that were above and beyond.
Soft kitty, warm kitty. Little ball of fur. Keep rubbing.
Because I just couldn't. This time it was physical and it was just a sickness, but there's going to be times in your marriage that you're going to have to do things above and beyond spiritually. Maybe your husband or your wife just can't. And it might not even be fair. Like it might not be fair that they can't spiritually be who they're supposed to be in your marriage or in your home at that moment. But the covenant you made with them is not based on whether it's fair at that time. It's that you made a covenant not just with them but also with the Lord. And so I guess that's my weekly wisdom, is that sometimes you're just going to have to step up and be the one.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to add to that?
Which we've both had to do. You know, I think in our past, there's been times where I've been down and you've had to step up and be the one, and vice versa. You know, you've been down, you've been troubled, and I've had to step up and be the one.
Well, and I've said this before. Louie's like, go ahead. What is it? What are you going to say? It's rare that I have to step up and be the one for you, but for you.
In what way?
In any way. Like you don't allow yourself to, which is fine. I would say that I will say that I can be a very strong spiritual person in our home. I can be very strong spiritual for our kids and things, and be really, really strong in those things. But I can also be very down in some of those ways, and so
we've had this discussion before. And vulnerable.
Yeah,
right?
Like I'm just real.
I think I'm real as well, but I do have an issue, I would think, with keeping. I've got a gift, I believe, of if I do get stressed or overwhelmed, I can quickly shove it down. And I like to think I'm putting my trust where it belongs. And maybe I think there's truth to that, but maybe there's some other issue with that too. Am I making any sense at all?
Yeah. I think I know that for myself, now I think that if, this had been a consistent pattern for 20 years or something, of you saying like, I'm struggling here. I don't know that you've ever come to me and said, I'm struggling here, or this has got me stressed, or, I don't know quite how this one's going to work out ever in 21 years. So I think now, had it been consistently where we were just two people that I said, okay, let me carry that burden with you, that maybe it would be easy to carry it now. But because I've never been asked to carry the burden, I think now if you came and said, I just don't see how this one's going to work out, I would panic. Because I would say, man, if you don't see how it's going to work out, it ain't working out. Because, I can come to him about anything. And he's like, it'll work itself out. This is going to work out. God is going to work this out for your good and for his glory. Like, always, to the point to where sometimes it's annoying.
Yeah, I've learned not to do this to my wife. And if you can't, if you're watching and you can't see, basically I've got just a 2-inch gap between my thumb and forefinger. And that just represents our time here on earth. One verse I used to quote all the time was, our light and momentary affliction is preparing us for an eternal glory for all eternity. And it is, the little bit
which was annoying.
And another mantra I live by is live alive. It's right here. I've had for 15 years.
That was not as annoying.
It's just always living in view of eternity. And when you're living in view of eternity, you're looking at the bigger picture, these little things that happen to us. That
aren't little to most people.
Aren't little to most people.
Right.
True.
So it would become hard.
And that's where I could grow, and I think I can do better.
So I guess at the end of the day, our weekly wisdom is just to be there for one another with no strings attached, with no you owe me ones or what can I get out of this later, but just be there. Because that's what you're called to do. You're just called to be there for one another.
If your wife is sick and needs mint chocolate chip ice cream, by golly, you better get in your truck and go find some. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. It's just like a mile down the road at Food City. If
Oh,
you were
don't give
looking.
away my secrets. So wise, honey. So, if you like what you hear and you know what to do, subscribe, hit those bell notifications, share. Weekly challenge, I think this week will be take your spouse on a date, treat your spouse to a date, and then during that date, share with your spouse one way that they could help you make your life a little bit easier. What is something that you bear alone that might help you if you could either just speak to your spouse about it, or they can make your life just a little bit easier. Maybe it's just, can I have 20 minutes a night of kid-free focus so I can get this overdue work time. Maybe
Oh, are you saying that
it's,
to me?
no, I need about 3 hours tonight after we're done with this of complete focus, because I've got this meeting to prepare for tomorrow. Just heads up. That's okay.
I can go
So I
to
shared
bed
my
and
thing. What's
watch.
your thing, Tear Bear?
I need. What do I need?
Mint chocolate chip ice cream.
No, I don't.
Macaroni and cheese or
No, good grief. I need you to chill. I need to go to Disney World when they don't have to wear masks anymore.
Oh yeah, that was rough.
I need to. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm good right now.
Awesome. Well, if you want more ideas or just want to commit with other couples on the same journey as us, join our Facebook page. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's have a good time. Because if you want to strengthen your marriage,
Stop treating yourself
and treat your spouse. So what do you think? Yeah, no. We'll see. I've lost my train of thought, so
This is gonna be a train wreck. I think.
your face is going to be a train wreck.